This episode of FilmRiot is brought to you by Domain.com.
Today on FilmRiot, we spit haze from a can. Welcome to FilmRiot, the show that takes mystery out of the effects and techniques, going to some of your favorite Hollywood films. I'm your host, Ryan Conley, and recently I came across a post on nofilmschool.com about this new product called Atmosphere Aerosol, which is basically just haze in a spray can. After seeing that, I had to try it for myself, of course, so that is what we're doing today. Ready, go. So here it is, a spray paint style can, but instead of paint, we get haze, and it is solid as
a rock.
I was thinking of something similar, rhymes with rock, but not that.
A block?
Yes, like a cinder block.
Yeah.
Usually, what you would do is use a hazer like this DF50. The problem with these is that they're pretty expensive. You could dial that back and get something cheaper like a standard fog machine, but fog isn't as good for diffusing a room like haze is. It works, but not nearly as well. So if you don't have $2,000 to shell out for an expensive hazer and you need something quick and simple, you could grab one of these cans for $12. And I have to say, I was pretty skeptical when I first got it. Wasn't sure what to expect, but with only using a quarter of the can, I filled my entire garage with a nice amount of haze. And it lingered for an impressive amount of time, very similar to what I'm gonna get from my DF50 hazer. And as I've shown in other episodes, the reason you'd wanna use haze in your shot is to get atmosphere. It adds a great layer and diffuses light really nicely. It's just an overall filmic look. For instance, here's the shot without, and then with the haze. It's also how you're gonna get shafts of light to show up in your image like this here. I walk through and spray some haze, and there you go. The can lasts a while too. Holding the nozzle down and spraying straight will go for about 5 minutes, and it lingers in the air really well. Of course, this is best used with run and gun, smaller rooms, and shorter things since you don't want to be going through can after can. But for me, this is a great small tool to add to my kit for whenever I need a quick and very portable hit of haze in something. It's a great way to even add some haze into an interior car shot like this, which I've never been able to do before. You can also use this for all kinds of small, simple smoke effects. Pump it through a box or something similar to make it seem like there's a small fire inside. Shoot it through a small tube for a ridiculous amount of different possibilities, including pumping it through just about anything to make it start smoking. Of course, this doesn't replace the bigger hazers for everything. This wouldn't have worked for what I needed for UFO Yeah, but it definitely would have worked enough for most of the shots we did in the Halloween Ghost episode. If you want to try it out for yourself, check it out right here on their site. It's $12 a can, so pretty easy to jump in and have a few lying around whenever you might need them. It's great for adding interest to your shot or just annoying your brother.
Are you kidding me? Again?
If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, innovator, Domain.com.
Or Channing Tatum.
What?
Or if you're Channing Tatum.
I'm sure he needs a website too. Domain.com is a place to go when you have that next great idea. I know you probably heard the list of available domain extensions is growing, but you now have the opportunity to name your site and build your brand in ways that were never before possible. Choose from a growing list of 400 plus domain name extensions like .com, .org, .design, and .club.
Or .Channing Tatum.
That's not one, but hey,
Tatum?
maybe one day it will be. To show you some love, they're giving you 25% off their already affordable prices with the domain names, web hosting, and email.
Channing Tatum.
That's not the coupon code. Use the coupon code FilmRiot.
25% off.
No, FilmRiot at Domain.com's checkout.
Channing
And when
Tatum.
you think domain name, think Domain.com.
And Channing
You
Tatum.
just watched Magic Mike.
Logo.
Sometimes it's not really that possible to fill your scene with practical smoke on the day, be it a shot like this in UFO Yeah, where we are outside with the wind, which made it impossible to have hanging fog, or this one right here, also from UFO Yeah, which is obviously 100% CG. For shots like this, a simple way to still add a similar effect of that atmosphere is by adding smoke assets in 3D space. To do this, first we're gonna bring in our footage and then the smoke assets we want to use, like these smoke assets from Rampant Design and these from Video Copilot. We bring all that in, track our footage, add a camera, and then start adding our smoke assets. We put those in 3D so that we can move them around in Z-space and scale to match. With some of these, you're gonna see the edges like this right here, so for that, I'm gonna mask around and then feather a ton to hide those edges. Then we add all of these in 3D space so the camera seems to be moving through it. Some of them are fading in and out as we move past them. I'm also adding blur to each layer and adjusting that to match the scene where I want them to seem to be in that space. Same with this shot right here. With this shot, tracking it really wasn't working out all that well. I was getting a lot of wiggle and I wanted something specific from each of my layers, so since this shot was so simple, I just added my assets in and animated each one by hand. Same sort of concept as tracking the first, I just placed each in 3D space and adjusted the positions to match the shot. And I can even parent the ones together that exist on the same plane. I'm also dropping the opacity a ton and adding motion blur as well to help sell the realism of the smoke within the scene. And of course, the more layers I add for our camera to move past, the better the effect's gonna work. It gives you the feel of depth and movement as you pass through all these layers. Without passing constant layers, it just feels empty and won't give you the feeling you're hoping for. But of course, that is all based around a camera moving through 3D space. If you have a static shot, it's a lot more simplistic. A little motion in your camera, like handheld, is very simple to track, but it gives the whole thing a lot more life and believability. So adding some movement will still help you a lot. Of course, doing it in camera is always going to be preferred. Real is better and easier, but there are times when that's just not possible on a budget. So that's where a technique like this will come in handy.
Logo.
But that's it for today. A few ways to add some atmosphere to your shot. And as always, you can follow me on the Twitters right here. And I'll see you guys next week when I bypass the compressor.